Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome. Today, we're diving into the incredibly powerful final verses of Surah Hud from the Quran. This chapter is famous for its profound guidance, and these concluding verses, wow, they are just a masterclass in how to stay steadfast, how to understand justice, and how to trust, especially when you're facing immense pressure.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start by looking at history, not as just stories, but as moral signposts. Then, we'll unpack this idea of a divine ledger, a system of cause and effect. After that, we'll get into the very real pressure the prophet was under, the amazing counsel he received to stay firm, and finally, we'll look at the practical, everyday actions that make it all possible.
All right, first up, history. You see, the way these verses talk about history is fascinating. It's not about gossiping about the past. It's framed as a series of direct, actionable lessons for every single one of us right here and now. And this verse, it just paints such a vivid picture, doesn't it? It describes the ruins of past civilizations as either still standing, a physical, visible warning for us to see, or as completely harvested, just mowed down and gone. It's this incredible metaphor for the real-world consequences of the path a community chooses to walk. And this right here, this is the core of it. These stories are meant to teach us something. We're supposed to look at the ruins, to hear the echoes of the past, and see them as giant signposts, warning us away from the very same mistakes that led to their downfall. So this idea of learning from the past flows perfectly into our next topic, divine justice. Now, the way the text describes this isn't about some random angry power. It's about a clear system of accountability, one that's totally rooted in cause and effect. And this comparison makes it crystal clear. Divine justice isn't arbitrary. It's not a punishment that comes out of nowhere. The verses say that communities faced ruin because they wronged themselves. In other words, the consequence was a direct result of their own actions. I mean, what a perfect way to say it. The accountability is direct. A community is responsible for its own moral choices. You can't really get mad at the accountant for a bill that you wrote yourself, right? And this is so important. There is a balance. While the link between action and consequence is undeniable, the text also makes it clear that divine mercy is vast. It's described as an emergency brake, this incredible opportunity to avert disaster, because God pardons much. There's always a path back. Okay, let's zoom in now on the human element, because the verses are brutally honest about the unbelievable psychological and social pressure the Prophet Muhammad was facing while trying to deliver this very message. And we're not just talking about polite disagreement here. This was basically psychological warfare. We're talking hostile glares to intimidate, public mockery, endless skeptical questions, and even being outright accused of being insane. And there it is, straight from the text itself. Calling a reformer mad is one of the oldest tricks in the book, isn't it? It's a way to dismiss the message without ever having to actually engage with it. And the Quran just lays that reality out for us, plain and simple. So as a form of comfort and strategic advice, the prophet is told, hey, don't be impressed by the apparent success of your opponents. Their flashy status, their wealth, their power, none of that should be mistaken for a sign that they are right or that they have God's favor. So, with all that intense pressure, what's the game plan? How do you respond? Well, the text doesn't just describe the problem. It gives a clear, actionable strategy for staying firm and true to the mission. And the core instruction is this word istiqama, or steadfastness. But what's so key here is that this isn't about short, fiery bursts of energy. It's about a steady, persistent, consistent uprightness in what you believe and what you do. It's a marathon, not a sprint, all while staying within the moral guardrails. And this verse, this is arguably the heart of the whole chapter. It said that this verse is the one that made the prophet's hair turn gray. It's a dual command. 1, stay on course. But 2, and this is just as important, do not transgress. Don't go to extremes. It's a powerful call for balanced integrity. So if we break it all down, we get this beautiful 4-step strategy. First, stay true to the mission. Second, don't let the opposition push you into becoming an extremist yourself. Third, don't get distracted or jealous of the superficial success of others. And the foundation holding it all together? Be patient. And that point about patience is just everything. This quote captures it perfectly. The results, the arrival of justice, it might feel like it's taking forever. It might run long on the clock.
but the assurance is that the timing is perfect and the outcome is certain.
Which brings us to our final section. Okay, so all of this sounds great, but how do you actually maintain that internal state of steadfastness from one day to the next? The text gives us concrete, practical actions to support it.
You could call it a kind of practical spiritual medicine. First, establish regular, disciplined prayer at the beginning of the day, the end of the day, and in the night. And second, internalize this powerful idea that your good deeds actively work to erase your misdeeds.
I just love this takeaway. What a vivid image, right? Regular prayer, or a salah, isn't just a ritual. It's a corrective force. It's the tool you use to regularly cleanse and polish and restore your soul. It's your spiritual maintenance. Now, the text also acknowledges that different people and communities might have different ways of doing things, but it sets this universal standard. The real goal isn't to argue about whose method is better, but for everyone to race to all that is good, to compete with each other in virtue and positive action. And this is how the entire chapter wraps up. It's the ultimate conclusion. After all the lessons from history, all the counsel for steadfastness, it all boils down to this: do your part. Worship Him, rely on Him, and trust with absolute certainty that your Lord is aware of every single thing you do. And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? This guidance is absolutely timeless. So the question for us is, in our complicated modern world with all its unique challenges, what does that race to all that is good actually look like for us today?